Hello and welcome. This is Sadhuswan. In today's video, we are going to discuss some of the time intelligence functions in DAX. These functions are month to date, quarter to date, and year to date. And let's first look at the data model that we have. We have certain dimension tables such as products, regions, sales rep. We have got a dates table as well, and the fact table is called the sales. So we are going to calculate the month to date sales in the visual. We already have the month name, the dates, and the daily sales of the year 2020 and the month of January. So for the purpose for calculating the month to date sales, we are going to use a function called TOTALMTD. For that, I'm going to right click on my time measures and click on new measure. I will call my new measure as MTD sales. MTD stands for month to date, and I'm going to use a function called TOTALMTD. This function requires two mandatory arguments. One is the expression and the other is the dates. The expression refers to the calculation that we want this formula to perform. In this case, we want to calculate the sales values. I have already created a sales measure, so we can use that over here. My sales measure is called total sales, and the second argument refers to the dates. We also have a dates table in our data model, so I'm going to refer that dates table, and in that table I'm going to refer to the date field, the date column. Bracket close. We have completed the formula. Press enter, and let's put comma separators here, and we can then drop this measure in the visual. And now you can see that for the daily sales, the total sales for each of these days are aggregated in this column month to date sales. The total sales for the month of January are 167 million, and you can see that the total month to date sales, the last day for the month of January is the same. So this is currently reporting the month to date sales. We can use we can calculate the quarter to date sales as well. For that purpose, I am going to right click and create new measure, and I'm going to call it QTD sales. The formula is the same, total quarter to date, and the measure that I'm going to use is the same, total sales, and the dates table is also the same. Press enter. Let's format it and put this measure in the visual. And if I were to remove the dates from this visual and then select at least 3 months, you'll be able to see that the total sales for the quarter are 512 million, and the quarter to date sales are correctly accumulated over this quarter. I can also select all, and in this case, and you can see that the quarter wise sales are accumulated up to the quarter end, and then from April the new quarter starts, and then it starts accumulating again. So this is how quarter to date is calculated. Now let's take a look at the year to date sales function, and for that I am going to use a new measure called, let's call it YTD sales, and the function that I'm going to use is, you guessed it right, total YTD, and the same measure, total sales, and the dates table. Let's format it and put this in the visual, YTD sales, and now you can have a look at the total sales for the year are 1.9 million, and the YTD sales are correctly accumulated, aggregated, and total in this column as YTD sales. So this is a very useful feature, and we can show it in this in a graph format as well. For graph, let me take off the month to date because it's different, and let's put it a line chart over here. And now you can see that the daily sales are appearing over here, the quarterly sales are appearing over here, and the YTD sales are appearing in this column, in this line. So you can see that we have calculated all three measures over here, and if I were to remove this daily sales also, then you can see the quarterly and yearly sales in this measure. We can also use another formula to calculate the same month to date, quarter to date, and year to date, and that requires a use of the calculate function. Let's take a look at that. For that, I'm going to use a new measure, and let's call it TOTALMTD. And for that, I'm going to use the function called calculate. And in calculate, we are going to specify two arguments. That is first expression, which is the same as we have already used, total sales. And in this case, now we have to provide a filter. The filter context is that I'm going to calculate the month to date sales over here. So there's a function called DATESMTD. The DATESMTD returns a set of dates in the month up to the current date, and it requires only the date column of the date table. So I'm going to specify date and bracket close for DATESMTD, and then bracket close for calculate. When I press enter, let's format it and put this in the visual. I'm going to remove these two, quarter to date and year to date, and I'm going to, and time measure, I've already calculated the month to date. So let's compare these two. Now you can see that these are exactly the same results. So we can similarly we can do a quarter to date calculation and an year to date calculation as well. So for that, I'm going to calculate a new measure. I will call it total quarter to date, and I'm going to use the measure calculate again. Calculate, the expression I'm going to use is total sales, which I've already calculated. And now for the purpose of quarter to date, we have a function called DATESQTD, the dates in the quarter, and it takes only one argument, which is the dates. This basically filters the table for the dates up to the end of the current quarter. And when I press enter, let's format this and put it in the visual, and I'm going to take away the month to date visuals, and I'm going to compare this with my quarter to date visual, which I've already calculated. You can see that it's again exactly the same result. So you can use whether total QTD, or you can use a calculate function to get the same results. Similarly, we are going to use another measure to calculate the year to date function, and for that I am going to call it YTD, total YTD, and calculate total sales, and the filter which we are going to use is the DATESYTD, DATESYTD, and let's take one argument, the bracket close and enter. Let's format this, and now in this table we are going to use the year to date, total YTD and YTD sales, and again you can see there we have got exactly the same results. These are the two functions for calculating the YTD sales. So in all, we have discussed 6 functions, 2 for month to date, 2 for quarter to date, and 2 for the YTD sales. I hope you would have enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.